Hey there, Bobby Klink from Your Online Genius here. Today, we are going to wrap up the series about intellectual property basics to give you some basic information about the different kinds of intellectual property to give you the information you need to know. Before we do that, again, a quick recap. I am an online entrepreneur and an intellectual property attorney. And Your Online Genius is a company that I've created to provide do-it-yourself resources for online entrepreneurs to help entrepreneurs like you protect your platform, protect your business, and make sure you're not getting yourself in hot water. The idea is to create the resources so that you don't have to pay an expensive lawyer like me, $500 an hour, racking up bills, that would quickly get above $10,000. Especially when you're in the early phase of your business. Once you're further along, it's going to make sense to hire a lawyer. But at the outset, look, you probably don't have the resources, but even if you did, you shouldn't be spending $10,000 on a lawyer. You should be spending that money on marketing, on advertising, on a lot of other things. But you have to get your intellectual property and your basic legal issues set up right from the outset, or it can cost you a lot more than $10,000 later. It could cost you hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in the future, or it could just destroy your business. So that's what we're doing here. That's what the company is. Quick recap. We've talked about patents, copyrights, trademarks, and trade secrets to date. And today we are going to be talking about the last area, which is publicity rights, or you might have heard it as personality rights. So this is kind of what I think of as almost a fifth, but maybe a minor area of intellectual property. It's not one of the big four that you tend to hear people talking about, but it's important. So publicity rights are everyone has the right to their own name, image, and likeness, and to control how that's used. So if you think about it, I have a right to control how my picture is used, how my name is used, etc. When we do things, obviously, when I make a video or appear on Facebook, I'm obviously putting it out there, so it changes the rights of what to do. But that's the basic idea. There are really two big areas or two big issues with publicity rights that can come up. One is that you can't use someone's name, image, or likeness in a way to create kind of a fake impression that they endorse your product or service. So this is simply the notion that, hey, me, Bobby Klink, I get to control how, what I endorse, what products I'm out there related to. And so that's a right that everyone has. So you have to be careful not to do that. Let me give you an example of where that comes up and how it's come up in the context of social media. There was a famous example of someone snapping a picture of Katherine Heigl, the actress. I guess she was originally from Grey's Anatomy, but then has been in a bunch of things since then. They snapped a picture of her leaving a drugstore chain. I'm pretty sure it was Duane Reade. In New York, I believe, and posted that video somewhere. And I think she had a bag that clearly had the logo of the company. Well, so the company says, hey, this is great. We can use this to promote our brand. So they started tweeting things and doing things like that in a sense of saying, hey, look, even Katherine Heigl needs to make runs to a pharmacy, and who does she choose? She chooses Duane Reade. So they used it in that sense. This was a case where they were trying to use Katherine Heigl's, her celebrity to convey the impression that she endorsed their company. And so that was something that wasn't allowed. You can't do that. That fake endorsement type of case normally comes up in the context of a celebrity because, look, it's a celebrity who normally you would want to associate your brand with. But let's talk about it in the context of not a movie star, but someone else. I can't go and start, throwing around names or putting pictures of famous online entrepreneurs on my website without their permission, because I would be trying to convey the impression that they had endorsed my services, that they endorsed what I did. And if they haven't done that, you can't do it. So that's where it comes up. And that's why, if you think about testimonials, for example, when you get a testimonial, you have to get it with the understanding from the person that they are giving you their testimonial. Because if you don't get that permission from them, if they just sent you an email and said, hey, I love what you did, this is great service, they haven't yet given me permission to use that and to use that publicity or for my publicity. So you have to get a specific agreement from them that it's okay to use their name, image, likeness to endorse your product or service. So that's the first case. That's the first place it comes up. Now, the second issue that can arise with publicity rights or personality rights, etc., isn't necessarily about you trying to use someone's popularities, their brand, their, essentially their personal trademark, if you think about it, to endorse your product. But what if they simply appear in a video, in an audio or something like that? So we've all been watching TV at some point, let's say a reality TV show or something like that, and you'll see in the background people whose faces are blurred out. The reason why their faces are blurred out is because for one reason or another, the producers didn't get permission or a release from those people to use their name or their likeness or image in this case in whatever video they were creating. So that's why you see blurred out images behind people in a reality show or so. So in your life, for example, that means you can't use, if you're out filming on the street, and again, this will vary from state to state as part of the problem, and it's a hard issue to come up with, but you generally should assume that if you're out filming on the street and you're capturing a bunch of different people's faces, you can't use it, because you are using their likeness without their permission, and that could create problems. Again, there can be exceptions if there's a statement somewhere that says, hey, you're coming into an area where you're likely to be photographed. By coming here, you're agreeing, but you're not going to have that. I mean, you're not going to have protection of that. You're not going to be able to prove that up, so you need to be careful about that. Now, in the context of the real world of entrepreneurs and the related areas where online entrepreneurs are doing it, I recently found some or came across a series of, it was tweets, but what they were doing is complaining about how these two people said they had been mistreated by YouTube. And they had been mistreated, they believed, because of their political viewpoint and a political position they were taking, and YouTube had taken their videos down. Well, when I listened to what they had done, I immediately understood that what had happened was they were using people's likenesses without getting permission. They just, had all these videos, and they were using the videos with people's faces in the background, and someone complained. And again, I, as an individual, if you were to film me on the street, would generally, in a lot of places, have a right to go and complain and say, you can't use that. And so that is an issue. That's where it can come up. If you have someone appearing, you have to be careful. We'll address this a little bit more next week, because there are particular issues with podcasting that you have to think about this, where you have to think about getting the right releases from the right kinds of people. But so we'll talk about that next week, but it'll be in the context of understanding the right to publicity. Now, one of the complicating things about right to publicity is it's the one area that isn't really purely federal law in intellectual property. So the other areas we've talked about, there are federal laws, and you would generally be going under federal law, or the law is really the same across the board. So with trademarks, maybe you didn't federally register, so you'd be suing under state common law rights, but the law is pretty much the same. Now, publicity rights, that's not the case. There is a patchwork of laws across the country. Different places have different rights. I think, for example, Indiana, I think it is, has the most stringent. I mean, I think they even protect your signature, for example, so you couldn't take a picture of someone's signature and use it. But the point is, you just need to be careful about it. And if you don't know the law specific to where you are, you need to basically be as careful as possible and not use any extent of someone's name, likeness, image, anything related to someone without their permission. So that's what you have to take the steps to be careful here, to make sure that you are not stepping on anyone's toes, that you're not going to get something where, again, your social media gets taken down or something else because you've used someone's name, their likeness, their image, or something to that effect in a way you're not allowed. So that's what you need to be doing here and thinking about it. Again, if you are going to be doing things related to this, you need to be very careful and make sure you know the law in and out where you are. And to do that, quite honestly, you probably need to talk to an attorney. That's not something that you really ought to be doing without getting to be an expert in the area. That's it for today. This is going to be a short lesson because I think it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to get into. Next week, we're going to be talking all week about podcasts and issues that can come up when you podcast. And in addition to the lives, there will be a big blog post that will come out on Monday with a lot of information as well. So if you have any questions between now and next week about podcasting that you'd like me to address, bring them up. I've got a kind of schedule that I've got and issues I'm going to bring up. But if someone brings up something, I'll add that on to make sure I'm answering these questions. If you like what you're hearing in these, again, I've got a course that you can take, which is the 5 mistakes that could doom your business. This is 5 of the big issues I see over and over and over again that could really cause you serious trouble. If you want to take that, it's at mistakes.youronlinegenius.com. You can go there, you sign up, you'll get an email a day for 5 days. And you will also be given access to immediately get into a members area if you want to just take it all right then. So again, that's mistakes.youronlinegenius.com. So that's all for today. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a fruitful weekend and you're thinking about intellectual property issues differently now, and you understand that you need to be taking some action. Anyway, have a great weekend.